Part 3. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 21. Chapter 21. Why did Yu Lingfeng come? In the middle of Hanzige's words, suddenly a stone thrown from nowhere flew over and just hit Hanzige's hand holding the trumpet. Hanzige screamed in pain, and the speaker was thrown to the ground, cutting off the sound. Everyone looked around, and finally, at the school gate, they saw a perfect man who looked like a god. Everyone exclaimed wow in unison, focusing their attention on the man who was 1.88 meters tall and had the proportions of a male model. At the same time, his face is so delicate and beautiful that no one can find any flaws. With perfect and smooth facial lines and facial features, a pair of dark eyes reveal a daunting indifference and coldness. He spread his long legs and walked straight towards the crowd. Xia Ying frowned and stared at the man. Yu Lingfeng, why did he suddenly appear here? Xia Ying stared at Yu Lingfeng. At the same time, Yu Lingfeng's unfocused pupils were also staring at Xia Ying. Hanzige noticed something and turned back to look at Xia Ying coldly. Who is he? Xia Ying did not answer Hanzige's question, but kept looking at Yu Lingfeng in confusion. Off stage, Xia Menjian originally thought that everything would develop as she wanted, but this man suddenly appeared again. Xia Menjian clenched her fists angrily and looked at Yu Lingfeng, who was getting closer. Who is he, the man who showed up at their house with Xia Ying yesterday, and now comes out to ruin her good deeds? Who is he? Why did we not learn any information about this man during the previous investigation, but now, he suddenly appeared like this? It's really puzzling. While everyone was panicking, Yu Lingfeng had already walked onto the stage. He didn't even look at Hanzige, but walked straight to Xia Yan, took Xia Ying's hand in a natural and smooth movement, and prepared to take her away. However, Hanzige held Xia Ying tightly to prevent Yu Lingfeng from succeeding. Yu Lingfeng turned around and looked at Hanzige with a terrifying look. Hanzige stood up and had to admit that the look in his eyes really intimidated him. Who are you? Hanzige said, Xia Ying is my girlfriend. Where are you taking her? Is this how you treat your girlfriend? Yu Lingfeng did not answer Hanzige's question, but asked him this question. None of your business. Hanzige replied, but his heart was beating. His intuition told him that the godlike man in front of him was definitely not simple. But, who is he? Why have I never seen him before, and how did he appear? Why interfere with his and Xia Ying's affairs? Let go. Yu Lingfeng said to Hanzige coldly. Hanzige tried his best to suppress his inner restlessness. After all, there were so many people here and he couldn't lose face. Don't let go. Hanzige responded coldly. Yu Lingfeng's face was expressionless. He held Hanzige's hand with one hand and held Xia Ying's hand, and then applied a little force. At least, in Xia Ying's view, Yu Lingfeng didn't seem to use much force. However, Hanzige already screamed in pain and let go of his hand. Then, Hanzige covered his wrist and screamed in pain. Under the stunned and bewildered eyes of everyone, Xia Ying was just dragged away by this handsome man. Xia Ying didn't know why. She followed Yu Lingfeng all the way and forgot what to say. She has not yet reacted to Yu Lingfeng's sudden appearance. In this life, she and Yu Lingfeng met in advance, so some things became unpredictable for Xia Ying. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 22. Chapter 22. What is the relationship between 11 Ju and Yu? Yu Lingfeng took Xia Ying out of the school gate and then let go of Xia Ying's hand. Xia Ying buried her head and whispered, "Thank you." Yu Lingfeng looked at her sideways and said, "Break up with him." What? Xia Ying was stunned and looked up at him. Yu Lingfeng's words were quite commanding, and Xia Ying looked at him in confusion. For your own good in the future, break up with that man. It's still a command tone, but it has an additional reason. Xia Ying looked at Yu Lingfeng in confusion. Seeing Xia Ying like this, Yu Lingfeng thought she was still lingering on something and was unwilling to break up with Hanzija. Yu Lingfeng sighed, turned his head, and said nothing more. Yu Lingfeng, why did you come here? Xia Ying finally asked this question. Yu Lingfeng answered her after a while, Zihu wants to see you and thank you in person. It was the person Xia Ying helped yesterday. Xia Ying quickly asked, is he healed already? That's right. Xia Ying remembered that 11 Ju had already acted as the driver to take Yu Lingfeng home this morning. What happened to him yesterday? Xia Ying asked again. It's just the same old habit. Yu Lingfeng gave a perfunctory reply. An old problem? Xia Ying was even more puzzled, what kind of problem is this? However, Xia Ying remembered that she had never met 11 Ju in her previous life. She originally thought that Yu Lingfeng was the only one in the castle, but who knew, there was actually another man. Then where is he now? Xia Ying asked again. Home. Huh, Xia Ying was surprised. Didn't he say that he wanted to see her? Still at home? So Xia Ying got into Yu Lingfeng's car and walked on the familiar route, preparing to go to Yu Lingfeng's home to meet 11 Ju. Yu Lingfeng, what does 11 Ju have to do with you? Xia Ying asked cautiously. She was very sure that she had never seen 11 Ju in her previous life, so there was only one possibility. 11 Ju must have been staying in the castle and rarely came out. Therefore, Xia Ying never saw him in her last life. He is my steward. Yu Lingfeng replied. I see, that makes sense. Xia Ying looked through the rear-view mirror and stared at Yu Lingfeng's flawless face. Yu Lingfeng saved her many times in her last life, but she didn't expect that in this life, she would meet him ahead of time by mistake, and Yu Lingfeng saved her again today. Xia Ying is a very grateful person, which may be due to the fact that she has not had many friends since she was a child. She will remember anyone who treats her slightly better. Xia Ying had no chance to repay Yu Lingfeng in her previous life, so she would leave it to this life. Xia Ying thought so and stared at Yu Lingfeng's face in trance. Yu Lingfeng noticed Xia Ying's gaze and didn't say anything. He drove the car calmly. Xia Ying followed Yu Lingfeng into the familiar black castle, although it was not the first time. But Xia Ying always felt a little depressed. The appearance was originally dark and the light inside was also very dim. I really don't know how Yu Lingfeng can live here. Xia Ying followed Yu Lingfeng. The further she walked inside, the darker the light became, until Xia Ying could no longer see clearly. Xia Ying paused, pulled the corner of Yu Lingfeng's clothes in front of her, and asked in a low voice, Yu Lingfeng, are there no lights here? Yu Lingfeng stopped and looked back at Xia Ying, suddenly remembering something. Yu Lingfeng thought for a while and nodded, no. Can you see clearly? Xia Ying couldn't help but be surprised. Got used to. Yu Lingfeng said lightly. Happy New Year, my little cuties. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 23. Chapter 23. You can make any request. Xia Ying swallowed, not knowing how to answer. At this time, Yu Lingfeng suddenly grabbed Xia Ying's wrist and said to her, follow me. Xia Ying nodded and followed Yu Lingfeng with small steps. Yu Lingfeng, seriously, are you really not going to put up a lamp? Xia Ying's mind suddenly began to imagine scenes from ghost movies, a huge castle, pitch black inside, and a ghost suddenly floated over from somewhere. Xia Ying shuddered and unconsciously held Yu Lingfeng's hand with both hands. Yu Lingfeng looked sideways at the panicked girl behind him and asked, are you afraid of the dark? Xia Ying nodded, I have been afraid of darkness since I was a child. Darkness makes me feel insecure. Yu Lingfeng fell into deep thought after hearing this and said nothing more. Yu Lingfeng led Xia Ying to the rooftop because the light there was brighter and it was not dark yet. Xia Ying sat on the sofa, and Yu Lingfeng sat opposite her with an expressionless face. Xia Ying felt that the atmosphere was a little awkward, so she asked him, "Where is 11 Ju? He will be here soon." Yu Lingfeng replied. As soon as Yu Lingfeng finished speaking, 11 Ju appeared. Xia Ying looked at the big boy walking towards her with a gentle smile on his face, and her mood suddenly improved a lot. Just now I have been spending time with Yu Lingfeng, a man with an ice cube face, and I finally saw someone with some expression. It seems that 11 Ju has no problem at all now. He brought drinks to Yu Lingfeng and Xia Ying. It seems you are well. Xia Ying smiled. 11 Ju scratched his head with a smile and said to Xia Ying, "I really thank you for that day, Miss Xia Ying. Just call me Sakura." Xia Ying said. "Okay, let me introduce myself formally. My name is Zihu. You can just call me Zihu." Zihu said. "Good. I don't like to owe others favors, Xia Ying. You saved me last time, and I said I would repay you, so you can make any request to me." 11 Ju said seriously. "You don't have to be so polite, in fact, I didn't do anything." Xia Ying waved her hand and said. "That's the kind of person 11 Ju is, you can mention him casually, it doesn't matter." Yu Lingfeng interjected from the side. Xia Ying was a little embarrassed. To be honest, at this moment, she really didn't know what to ask for. Xia Ying suddenly thought of something and asked 11 Ju, "Let's not talk about the request. Can I ask you a question?" 11 Ju nodded. Yu Lingfeng glanced at Xia Ying. What was this girl thinking? Why is it that Yu Lingfeng has never been to school, but he can do all the college entrance examination mock papers correctly? Is he studying on his own? Although Xia Ying asked Yu Lingfeng never gave her a positive answer. But Xia Ying felt that this matter was really strange, and she just wanted to know. Yu Lingfeng's face turned dark. Why is this girl so stubborn? Do we have to figure this out? Upon hearing this, 11 Ju was stunned for a moment, then looked at Yu Lingfeng, who had a dark face, and laughed. Xia Ying was puzzled as to why 11 Ju suddenly laughed. "What do you think?" 11 Ju suddenly said this slyly. Yu Lingfeng gave 11 Ju a roll of his eyes. What is this guy planning to do to become famous? There must be some who are studying on their own. Xia Ying said weakly. But it's strange. If Yu Lingfeng is studying high school content by himself, but he didn't take the college entrance examination in his previous life, what on earth does he want to do? Simply, just studying? End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 24. Chapter 24. What happened to his master? Let's put it this way, my master's power is beyond your imagination. 11 Ju glanced at Yu Lingfeng and said meaningfully, he is proficient in all the profound and complex quantum physics, let alone college entrance examination papers. Xia Ying opened her mouth in surprise and stared at Yu Lingfeng in disbelief. As expected of the son of the genius physicist Yu Moliang, Yu Lingfeng is truly jaw-dropping. It's just that I don't understand. Yu Lingfeng is obviously so capable, why not use this ability in a meaningful way to benefit mankind? Xia Ying tilted her head and asked Yu Lingfeng. In the last life, Yu Lingfeng did not have any specific occupation. At least, in Xia Ying's view, Yu Lingfeng was very idle. Perhaps because his father left him enough money, Yu Lingfeng's life has always been very nourishing. Not to mention anything else, his castle is already extremely expensive. In her last life, Xia Ying always thought that Yu Lingfeng was the kind of person who had nothing to do, but she never thought that Yu Lingfeng turned out to be so extraordinary. Yu Lingfeng curled his lips and his expression turned cold. For the benefit of mankind? They don't deserve what I do. Yu Lingfeng's words were very soft, but Xia Ying still heard them. Xia Ying was confused and stared at Yu Lingfeng, but she didn't ask anything after all. Sakura, so, what exactly do you want to ask for? Zihu asked again. Xia Ying scratched her head and said with some embarrassment, actually, I really don't have anything to ask for. I don't want to do anything right now. I just want to study hard and get admitted to the art department of Tokyo University. As soon as Xia Ying finished saying this, Yu Lingfeng moved her fingers on the sofa, glanced sideways at her, and showed a meaningful expression. This can also be a request. Zihu became excited. What? Xia Ying didn't understand. How can this be considered a request? At most, this is just a wish of mine. I can help you. Zihu stood up, patted his chest and expressed cheerfully. Yu Lingfeng raised his head slowly and glanced at 11 Ju calmly with complicated eyes. Help me? How to help? Tutor you, with my tutoring, you can definitely pass the exam. 11 Ju said seriously. Xia Ying smiled awkwardly, she didn't want to trouble others so much. She is only in her first year of high school now. If Zihu wants to tutor her for the college entrance examination, she still has more than 2 years. It's really too long, and this requirement is a bit overwhelming. Moreover, Xia Ying can definitely hire a tutor without bothering 11 Ju. 11 Ju seemed to have read Xia Ying's thoughts and continued, don't underestimate me. Although I am not as good as the master, I will definitely have no problem tutoring a high school student like you. Moreover, I guarantee that I am better than any tutor it works. This. Xia Ying scratched her head and felt embarrassed. When he said this, it became even harder for her to refuse. It's settled, I will go to your house tomorrow and officially become your tutor. Zihu smiled brightly. Xia Ying saw that he was like this and couldn't refuse, so she nodded in agreement. After Xia Ying's driver came to take her home, Yu Lingfeng and 11 Ju stood at the door and watched Xia Ying's leaving figure. At this time, Yu Lingfeng said calmly, I will be the tutor. Zihu was stunned for a moment, staring at Yu Lingfeng without knowing why. Master, you are not. It's decided. After Yu Lingfeng finished speaking, he turned around and left. Halfway through, Yu Lingfeng thought of something again and turned around and said, I will go to the furniture store tomorrow. Except for my bedroom, every place in the castle will be equipped with lights. Ah! Zihu was stunned. What happened to his master? Please give me a recommendation vote. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 25. Chapter June 25 Chennai. Xia Ying locked herself in her room at night and declined to go shopping with Xia Menjian on the grounds that she felt uncomfortable. Xia Menjian smiled on the surface and said it didn't matter, but in fact she had been struggling with the matter of Xia Ying being suddenly taken away by Yu Lingfeng during the day. She must understand clearly what the relationship between that man and Xia Ying is. Xia Ying turned on her computer, and the hot searches on her computer and mobile phone were all about Jun Chennai, the new double actor. Xia Ying frowned as she looked at this familiar name. At this time, Jun Chennai won 2 Best Actors in 1 year and became a legend in the entertainment industry. What's more important is that Jun Chennai is only 17 years old and is still in the first grade of high school. In the future, this person's stardom will shine even brighter. As far as Xia Ying's memory goes, Jun Chennai, a man who looks like a monster and is a disaster, will be admitted to the art department of Tokyo University in the future, and then he will shine all the way and become a top actor in the entertainment industry. He not only has the looks and popularity of a popular niche actor, but his acting skills have also been praised by many veteran actors. It's hard not to be popular with this kind of person. However, Xia Ying remembered that in Jun Chennai's last life, when he was 22 years old, he was accused of having with a young girl and got into a lawsuit. In the end, he suffered from depression and cut his wrists to death in his villa. In the same year, The national goddess Xia Ying also passed away one after another. The entertainment industry that year was gloomy. The Xia family has a good relationship with the Jun family, and Xia Ying also knows Jun Chenai fairly well. The Jun family has always had a good impression of Xia Ying and intends to bring Jun Chenai and Xia Ying together. It's just that in the last life, Xia Ying was devoted to the scumbag Hanzija, and deliberately behaved rudely like an unreasonable young lady in front of Jun Chenai's parents. Therefore, the Jun family gave up this idea. Jun Chenai also had a bad impression of Xia Ying because of this. Jun Chenai will transfer to Guanyang later. Counting the days, Jun Chenai will transfer here soon. Although they haven't seen each other for a long time, Xia Ying still remembers Jun Chenai as a monster, with a majestic temperament and extraordinary conversation. Xia Ying shook her head and stopped thinking about these things. It is now 2010. In this era, online singers are popular and online music has also developed well. Many years later, popular online singers such as Su Song and Ben 11 already had a large number of fans at this time. Xia Ying decided that while she was seriously preparing for the Taito University exam, she would first build a reputation on the internet, and then step by step towards the top of the music industry. Xia Ying thought about the songs she released in her previous life, so she started with her famous song Shadow Traveler. Xia Ying first registered an account on an original music website. Xia Ying thought about it and decided to change her stage name to Thornbird. The thornbird sings only once in its life. Since leaving the nest, it has been persistently looking for the thorn tree. When it got what it wanted, it plunged its petite body into the longest and sharpest thorn, and sang loudly with tears in its eyes. That poignant, moving and graceful song eclipsed all the sounds in the world in an instant. At the end of the song, the thornbird finally died of exhaustion and died singing, creating eternal beauty with a tragic tragedy, leaving people with a tragic swan song. Xia Ying has always liked the story of the thornbirds. It is tragic, beautiful, and haunting. After all the formalities were completed, Xia Ying closed the curtains and prepared to upload songs. Shadow Traveler is a ballad-style song, melodious and low-pitched, weeping and complaining. Xia Ying's voice is naturally soft and clear, which is very suitable for this kind of song. Xia Ying brought her guitar and sang while playing. A simple guitar backing is enough, and the song is quiet enough to be listened to alone. Xia Ying recorded it twice and uploaded it directly. Then I put away my guitar, opened my homework book, wrote my homework for a while, and then got ready to go to bed. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 26. Chapter 26 Hungmen Banquet. On this day, Xia Ying returned home as usual and prepared to go to the study to do her homework. However, he was stopped by Xia Chuanhai. Xia Ying, go change clothes and dress up quickly. Today we will go to Jun's house for dinner. Jun family. Xia Ying frowned. By the way, it was the same in the previous life. The Xia family was invited by the Jun family to have dinner together, and the two families were talking about Xia Ying and Jun Chenai throughout the meal. This is clearly a Hungmen banquet, where the Xia family and the Jun family brought them together. Xia Ying looked at Luo Xian. Her mother had always liked Jun Chenai. In the last life, Luo Xian lost her temper over Xia Ying's rudeness at the dinner table. Although Xia Ying hates Xia Chuanhai, for Luo Xian's sake, Xia Ying has to go. Xia Menjian stood aside, blinking her eyes and asking in confusion, "Dad, who are the Jun family?" Jun Chenai is the Jun Chenai who is very popular recently. Jun Chenai's father, Jun Ming, and I have been good friends for many years, Xia Chuanhai explained. Oh, Xia Menjian responded in a long voice. Xia Menjian is not stupid, she can see the purpose of this dinner. Xia Chuanhai only asked Xia Ying to change clothes. It was obvious that he only planned to take Xia Ying to the banquet. Maybe, after Xia Ying leaves, she will become the fiancée of the most popular national hero Jun Chennai. Although Xia Menjian is not interested in entertainment news, everyone knows Jun Chennai. Jun Chennai, the most handsome young master in the imperial capital with a large number of fans. Why is Xia Ying's fiancé such an excellent person? Xia Menjian looked at Xia Ying and her family leaving, clenched her fists, gritted her teeth, and sat on the sofa angrily. Hateful. So what if she finally comes to the Xia family? She and Xia Ying were always different. They were both daughters of the Xia family. Xia Ying was bright and enviable, but she could only humiliate and work hard to please the bad-tempered young ladies in the school. In order to be able to integrate into these people, Xia Yan has paid so much. In the end, she was worthless at home. In school, her most eye-catching title is still that she is the younger sister of the national daughter Xia Ying. At this moment, the doorbell rang outside the door. Master Yu, are you here to see the young lady? Miss, she just went out with the husband and wife. If you need anything, I can help you, tell the lady. Xia Menjian was stunned for a moment. Master Yu? Is this voice the boy who looked as perfect as that day? Xia Menjian hurriedly ran to the door, and as expected, Yu Lingfeng was wearing a clean and tidy black trench coat, with an indifferent expression and a pair of eyes that were deep and intense, exuding a stunning light. Xia Menjian is sure that this man will definitely be the most handsome man she has ever seen in her life. Even Jun Chennai can't compare to this perfect man in front of him. Xia Menjian was moved when she saw him for the first time. Now that she saw him again, she still couldn't help feeling panicked. Yu Lingfeng was a little uncomfortable with Xia Menjian's burning gaze. He just looked at the servant and said, "Nothing special. I'll come back tomorrow." After saying that, Yu Lingfeng turned around and prepared to leave. But Xia Menjian couldn't help but stop him. "Well, Yu Lingfeng, what's the matter with you?" Xia Menjian was so attracted by Yu Lingfeng's face that she completely ignored the conversation he had just had with his servant. Yu Lingfeng looked at Xia Menjian indifferently and said in a deep voice, "I came to see Xia Ying, and it has nothing to do with you." After saying that, Yu Lingfeng left without looking back. Xia Menjian's spring-like smile immediately solidified, and the servants felt that the air had become a little awkward, and left silently. Xia Menjian gritted her teeth and was extremely angry. Damn it, why is it that Xia Ying again? Thanks to the little cutie Magic Alice for the reward. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 27. Chapter 27 Hungmen Banquet. Xia Ying and her family came to the Jun family. As the head of the four major families in the imperial capital, the villa of the Jun family was an eye-opener for Xia Ying. The Jun family is famous for being rich, and the Jun family has never been shy about showing off their financial resources. Although I come from a wealthy family, I have seen many beautiful and luxurious villas. But when Xia Ying looked at the Jun family's villa, she couldn't help but feel admiration in her heart. The Jun family had been waiting for the Xia family at the door for a long time. As soon as their eyes fell on Xia Ying, who was wearing a beige dress, tall and charming, exuding a charming temperament, they couldn't help but grin. They were extremely satisfied with Xia Ying, who they had watched grow up since she was a child. They had also decided early on that their future wife must be Xia Ying. Jun Chennai had been studying abroad and had only recently returned. So, this was his first time meeting Xia Ying. He had heard his parents praise Xia Ying for how beautiful, cute, and sensible she was before, but Jun Chennai had always had a cold attitude. He has always felt that in this age, are things like marriage between wealthy families too backward and too tacky? However, when Jun Chennai's eyes fell on Xia Ying, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he silently felt that a filial child must only listen to his parents. After exchanging pleasantries, the two families sat down at the dining table. Xia Ying was arranged to sit next to Jun Chenai. She was exactly the same as in the previous life. Jun Chenai was wearing indigo blue clothes, with soft and shiny honey brown hair, a few unruly bangs in front of his forehead, and a pair of narrow and beautiful eyes. Soul, just like the image of a beautiful young man. Xia Ying felt that Jun Chenai had the appearance of an evildoer, and when he was calm, he looked like a perfect statue. In the last life, I must have had my head squeezed by the door to let go of such a stunning fiancé as Jun Chenai, and only wanted to fly into the arms of the scumbag Han. Although, Xia Ying is currently not interested in this Jun Chenai. Even if she was reborn, she didn't know how she would interact with Jun Chenai. The dinner table was still dominated by a few adults chatting. Xia Ying only answered a few words silently when needed. Most of the time, she lowered her head and remained silent. Although there is no need to deliberately slander her image in front of Jun Chenai like she did in her previous life, there is no need for Xia Ying to cater to her parents and have a good relationship with Jun Chenai. Because Xia Ying knew Jun Chenai's future, he would definitely die when he was 22 years old. Thinking of this, Xia Ying raised her head and glanced at Jun Chenai. Jun Chenai was eating the vegetables on the plate slowly, with no unnecessary expression on his face. It seemed that he was not very interested in the marriage arranged by his parents. Perhaps he noticed Xia Ying's gaze. Jun Chenai raised his head and glanced at Xia Ying, and the two looked at each other. Although she didn't know Jun Chenai well, Xia Ying felt vaguely regretful. Why did a young man with such clear eyes end up on such a path? Words like pedophilia, fascination with girls, and sexual assault cases don't match the young man in front of him at all. By the way, I heard that Chenai will transfer to Guangyang Middle School soon. Luo Xian said with a smile and looked at Jun Chenai with great satisfaction. Yes, these two children can still go to and from school together in the future. It's wonderful to think about it. Jun Chenai's mother smiled at Xia Ying and seemed very satisfied with Xia Ying. Xia Ying smiled politely, then lowered her head and ate silently. Jun Chenai looked at Xia Ying calmly, with an imperceptible smile on his lips. Remember to vote for recommendation after reading this. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 28. Chapter 28. You were dumped by me. After leaving Jun's house, Xia Ying felt a little tired and felt drowsy while sitting in the car going back. Luo Xian was very satisfied with today's dinner. Jun's parents seemed to like Xia Ying very much, and Jun Chenai, who had always been indifferent, seemed to have looked at Xia Ying a few more times today. Jun's mother even whispered to Luo Xian that Jun Chenai seemed to be very satisfied with Xia Ying. At first, she heard that her fiancé was very protesting when she saw her, but she didn't expect that she would be so obedient when eating. Judging from Jun Chenai's temperament, he silently accepted Xia Ying. Xia Ying, what do you think of Jun Chenai? Luo Xian couldn't wait to know Xia Ying's reaction. Xia Ying raised her heavy eyelids and glanced at Luo Xian. It's not bad. Did you call him? Luo Xian asked again. Xia Ying shook her head. She didn't have time to think so much now. She had too many things to do in this life. Right now, it was obviously not suitable for romance. She is only 16 years old now, so it is still early. Xia Chuanhai said, Sakura is still young, why are you in a hurry? I just, really like that kid Chen Yi. Luo Xian said with a smile. Xia Chuanhai looked at the expressionless Xia Ying and frowned. Why did he feel that Xia Ying suddenly seemed like a different person during this period of time? If he doesn't talk to him, he will be in a daze from time to time, and his eyes often reveal a little sadness. Perhaps, she still cannot accept that she has an illegitimate daughter. Luo Xian slowly accepted it after all the hard talk she had during this time. But Xia Ying is different. She has been stubborn since she was a child. It may take longer for her to accept what happened to Xia Menjian. But Xia Chuanhai is not worried, because Xia Ying is a kind child, and one day she will slowly forgive her father. When Xia Ying went to school the next day, she was stunned as soon as she entered the classroom. Because she found Hanzija sitting in her seat with an unhappy face. Seeing Xia Ying coming, Hanzija stared at Xia Ying angrily. A circle of people gathered around Hanzija, looking at Xia Ying as if they were watching the fun. Judging from everyone's expressions, Hanzija should have told them that she was his girlfriend. Xia Ying curled her lips. It was obvious that Hanzija did this because of what happened yesterday. Based on Xia Ying's understanding of Hanzija, he probably still refused to give up and wanted to come directly to Xia Ying's classroom to declare his sovereignty. Xia Ying took a deep breath. It seemed that if she didn't break away from Hanzija, this guy would keep coming out to stop her plans. Sister Xia Ying, what's going on? Xia Menjian on the side pulled Xia Ying's arm and asked Xia Ying weakly. Xia Ying glanced at Xia Menjian, whose face was innocent and confused, and shrugged. What's going on? Shouldn't you know best in your heart? Xia Ying walked towards Hanzija calmly. Hanzija sat like a domineering president, looking up at Xia Ying who was walking towards her. Wow, Xia Ying, it turns out you and Senior Hanzija are really a couple. At this moment, a girl exclaimed. That's right, Xia Ying. Hanzija took over what the girl said and stared straight at Xia Ying. Xia Ying's expression made Hanzija confused. Xia Ying raised her eyes, raised the corners of her mouth, and snorted coldly, what do you think? What do you mean? Hanzija was confused by Xia Ying's inexplicable smile. This girl has become more and more unfamiliar to him recently. Was she being lowered or something? Hanzija, I'm officially informing you that you have been dumped by me. Xia Ying finished speaking word for word. Thank you little cutie. Yangbai's reward. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 29. Chapter 29 We Are Even. As soon as Xia Ying said these words, everyone was stunned. Hanzija was almost frightened and even sat down on the ground. Xia Menjian opened her eyes wide and looked at Xia Ying in disbelief. God knows how much Xia Ying was obsessed with Hanzija before, why did she suddenly become like this? She actually said that she dumped Hanzija? Hanzija himself was even more confused. Damn it, he originally wanted to save some face today, but now, he became the laughing stock of the football team. Yesterday I was preparing to announce to the whole school, but I was intercepted by the man who suddenly appeared. Today I am preparing to make up for it. Damn it, I was dumped. Do you want to be so bloody, do you want everything to be so smooth? Wait a minute, is it because of the man yesterday? No, it's impossible. He has never seen that man before. It's impossible for Xia Ying to change her mind so quickly, right? Damn it, Hanzija is very unhappy now. Xia Ying, do you know what you are talking about? Hanzija clenched his fists and stared at Xia Ying with gritted teeth. Xia Ying looked at Hanzija expressionlessly, do you need me to repeat it? You have nothing else to say. Hanzija still can't believe it, what on earth is going on? Why did Xia Ying, the good-tempered Xia Ying who was obsessed with him in the past, suddenly become so strange to him? Please get out of my seat, I'm going to preview. Holy shit, you. Hanzija was completely irritated. He slapped Xia Ying's desk hard and stood up suddenly, startling the girls around her. Hanzija gritted his teeth and stared at Xia Ying, pointed at Xia Ying, and said to Xia Ying word by word, I tell you, you are not worthy of dumping me at all. I have never liked you, I have always been I'm just playing with you. Xia Ying smiled bitterly. If she had heard this in her previous life, she would have been heartbroken. But, Hanzija, I already knew it. And, I don't care now. It just so happens that I didn't like you either, we are even. Xia Ying said lightly. The people around him were stunned for a moment. What kind of drama is this? They were originally prepared to eat dog food, but the two of them ended up fighting? Damn, this is so exciting. Is there any popcorn? Evened out? Hanzija felt MMP in his heart. He had lost so much face to the boys on the football team in the past few days, and now, he was embarrassed in front of so many people, so Xia Ying just wanted to make things even? Damn, what did he get into? Xia Ying, you'd better not come to me crying to forgive you. After Hanzija finished speaking, he turned around and left angrily. Xia Ying sneered and sat down silently. In her former self, she might have humbly begged Hanzija for love and forgiveness, but she is no longer the Xia Ying she used to be. Hanzija, you'd better get as far away as possible. Xia Menjian also sat down. She hadn't figured out the situation yet. Before entering Xia's house, she conducted a series of investigations on Xia Ying in order to gain Xia Ying's trust. However, in the past few days, her investigation results were gradually overturned by Xia Ying. She was completely confused. Sister Xia Ying, don't you like Senior Hanzija very much? Xia Menjian asked tentatively. Xia Ying turned her head, looked at Xia Menjian meaningfully, and asked, who told you that I like Hanzija very much? Xia Menjian paused. Xia Ying doesn't even like Hanzija anymore? What exactly happened here? In this case, all her plans will be disrupted. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 30. Chapter June 30th. Chennai transferred to their class. After class, Teacher Li Mu happily walked into the classroom with his handouts under his arm. Students, there is a new student in our class today. Teacher Li Mu said with a smile. Xia Ying was writing. When she heard Teacher Li Mu's words, she stopped writing and frowned. That's not right, new classmate? Xia Ying remembers that there was no such thing in her previous life. Besides Xia Menjian, when had a new classmate been transferred to their class? Before Xia Ying had time to raise her head to see the so-called new classmate, she was drowned out by the screams of the people around her. Wow ah Jun Chennai ah ah ah. Oh my god, you can actually be in the same class as my idol in your lifetime. Ah, I can't stand it anymore, Jun Chennai is so handsome. Xia Ying stared at Jun Chennai who was on the stage with an indifferent face. He had honey brown hair, a trademark face, and a shiny earring in his left ear. Jun Chennai noticed Xia Ying's gaze and showed a faint smile to Xia Ying. It was just a very casual smile, but it was perfectly captured by the girls in the class. Wow, Jun Chennai smiled at me. Shit, you are obviously smiling at me, okay. Jun Chennai looks even more flirtatious when he smiles. Xia Ying understands the mood of these little girls very well. When she was 15 or 6 years old, she also had idols she liked, and she would scream and cheer for her idols. But things are different now. After experiencing the ups and downs in her previous life, Xia Ying has taken everything lightly. What's more, she was in the entertainment industry in her previous life, surrounded by handsome guys and beauties, and she had long been tired of aesthetics. Although Jun Chennai was handsome, Xia Ying still had no feelings for him. After Teacher Li Mu introduced Jun Chennai, he asked him to choose a position. At this time, all the girls looked straight, holding their breaths, waiting for the fate of the decision. Who on earth would be so lucky to be at the same table as Jun Chennai? Among them, Mu Niankai was particularly excited, with a determined smile on her face. Mu Niankai said to Sun Han on the side, Sun Han, If I told you that Jun Chennai is my childhood sweetheart, would you believe it? Really or not? Sun Han opened his mouth wide, his face full of disbelief. Of course it's true, my relationship with brother Chennai is very good. Muni Ankai was very arrogant and even used ambiguous words like brother Chennai. Muni Ankai's voice was so loud that several girls around her heard it, including Xia Ying. Wow, in that case, Jun Chennai will definitely be your desk mate. I'm so envious of you, Nian Chi, for you and my idol are childhood sweethearts. Nian Chi, you saved the galaxy in your last life. Muni Ankai couldn't help but feel even more proud as she listened to the envious words of people around her. Jun Chennai's eyes wandered around the classroom for a week before he fixed his eyes on Xia Ying. Xia Ying was stunned and swallowed. Is Jun Chennai trying to cause trouble? Jun Chennai smiled half-heartedly, pointed at Xia Ying and said to Teacher Li Mu, Teacher Li Mu, can I be the same table mate as Xia Ying? Xia Ying's heart suddenly went cold. What on earth is going on? In the last life, Jun Chennai should have been in another class, so why did he suddenly end up in their class in this life? Moreover, he actually wanted to be her desk mate? Wait a minute, Xia Ying suddenly understood. Maybe Jun Chennai was assigned to class 16 in his previous life, but because of Xia Ying's performance at the dinner, Jun Chennai later changed classes. Yesterday, Xia Ying obviously made Jun's family very satisfied, perhaps including Jun Chennai, so Jun Chennai came to be in the same class as Xia Ying in this life. Xia Ying held her forehead helplessly, making a mistake and causing trouble for herself again. Jun Chennai is much more threatening than Hanzija. Jun Chennai's actions will only put Xia Ying in a more dangerous position. Xia Ying could already feel the cold looks from the girls around her. She could even hear the sound of Muni Ankai gritting her teeth. End of this chapter.